Hello, my soul tribe. Welcome to my podcast, Nirvana with Nirvano. In this podcast, we'll be talking about spirituality, self-love, intuition, spiritual awakening, and many contemporary things that are going on right now in the collective and on an individual basis what we are experiencing. This is really crazy times that we're living in, and many challenges are coming about, not just for the individuals but also for the collective. And the purpose behind this podcast is to share my lessons on my spiritual awakening journey that have really helped me in the past 4 years of my life to completely change the narrative about anything and everything that used to bother me. And of course, I'm very much on the journey, but I just had this overpowering love to just share what I was just brimming with, the lessons, wisdom. And because we are all in this together, I know that we are together in this, and the love that I'm sharing here would be felt by so many people who would be listening to this whenever they would be listening to this, because space and time have really started seeming like illusions to me. But yes, I'm still learning. But the vision for the podcast, I would feel that the purpose is fulfilled for this podcast when somebody chooses love over fear in their day-to-day life, when they just get a breather from the monotony of their lives and all the crazy low vibrational emotions that they're feeling. If they could just allow love to shine through in the same situations which would have triggered them earlier, I would consider the purpose of this podcast fulfilled. Yeah, so that's what this is going to be about, and it would be very spontaneous. I would not make it too structured, too rigid, too straight jacket. However the messages need to come through, they would come, and I'll allow it. My only job here is to allow and not hold back. This just feels so aligned to my soul purpose, which is sort of the same for all of us on one level, that it is to live a life of service. It is not about having personal agendas, but living for a bigger reason, which would be helping other people and creatures and nature and of course yourself. But it would not be out of fear that you would want to protect your assets, or it would not be out of insecurity that you're making your decisions and choices, but rather for the good of all involved. Even on the surface it seems like it might not be in your best interest, but you would still know that if this benefits the greater collective, then it must be in my benefit as well. And of course, it needs to resonate with your heart. I would love to talk about the 3 pillars of self-love today. That is what is coming through. I really think that if you're really a beginner on the self-love journey, on the spiritual awakening journey, on your intuition or working with your shadows and your inner demons, I think this is a really helpful framework that has come about, that has been really helpful in my own journey. Of course, I've been immensely guided by so many divine beings, angels, amazing people, these masters and gurus, enlightened beings who have left their wisdom here with us on earth, which is accessible thanks to the internet, that we have so much access to so much wisdom. Exactly the right thing can pop up into your life at the right time. Flow is working so phenomenally, and it is so amazing. I'm really in awe of this mechanism, this earth game, this earth experience and reality. It's really exciting to be here. Of course, it's incredibly challenging. The past 4 years have been crazy challenging for me, but I'm really beginning to feel the magic and the awe and the thrill and inspiration and love that binds this game together, and how reflective it is. All really amazing. The 3-legged framework that I was talking about consists: 1, having an inner sanctum of self-love, a space, a prism of self-love, of light, where you can go to rest, relax and recharge your batteries and feel loved. That is really important on this path. As you're just starting, you might not be able to live a life of love, because we are undoing the conditioning of millions of years. But but still this will, give you some respite when you need. This will give you some time to at least allow the higher frequencies to be felt through your system. So I'll tell you maybe in the coming episodes or however, whenever, how you can do this, but this is the first thing that is coming through. Creating a space of love, unconditional love for yourself within you. This is a space of being. This is a state of being. This is not something that you look for out externally, outside, or try to extract from people or situations. This is something which you have emotional access to whenever you want, and that's what we are going to do. In the beginning, we can do it very consciously with effort, so to speak, the first few times. And once you get the idea of the emotional state of being, how it feels energetically, it will be easier for you to access it, and that will be one of the big arsenal in your bag of tricks, so to speak. The second thing that needs to be there is to start developing a sort of connection with your higher self, which would be, not to make it too complicated, which you can imagine and feel as the best possible version of you on all fronts. And you can also feel the energy of your higher self as the feeling of somebody who loves you unconditionally, which really do not put the kind of if you have anybody in your life, maybe your mother or your friend or some sibling or somebody, or in some moments you felt that unconditional love, that would be the true frequency of your higher self, and that will start giving this, the concept of higher self or inner being or your inner guidance mechanism or whatever you want to call it. Just start building a connection with this. You can name it him, her, whatever, however you see it, but start energetically sensing the love that's emitted from it, and start asking it for guidance in your life, because we are so lost in the mind usually. So if you're somebody who has just started realizing that you are crazy, and the matrix, so to speak, is a lot of programs are running on autopilot inside you, and they are reflected externally again and again through different circumstances, but that there is something crazy going on with your mind, and you cannot live like this you cannot trust your mind, basically your ego. Very mainstream words, but very useful. When you start realizing that there is something amiss and it's not going to make you live your best life, then that's when you start questioning whether there is some other way of living your life, which is devoid of this fear that we feel constantly, this anxiety that we feel constantly, and a lot of crazy other lower frequency emotions like shame, guilt, lack, depravity, and what all those things. So once you've started questioning that there has to be some other way, this three-legged framework would really be helpful. So the first part we have discussed is the inner prism of light or inner space of unconditional love, that frequency. Second, starting to connect with a higher energy, your best self or your God, or maybe whatever you want to call. You can also maybe your connection with some divine mother or Krishna or consciousness or existence or whatever you want to call it. Whatever comes up naturally, whatever comes up, allow it to come up, and start building a connection with something which is of a higher light, higher love, and allow it to guide you. Ask it for help, name it, talk to it, call it in your life. Know that for the highest good of all, for your highest good, and for love and light, ask it to help you in your life for the good of all. Very important to mention this, for love and light of all. This sort of, when you start developing a connection with your higher self or whatever you want to call this, your God, this entity this energy will start guiding you more, and you will have something to fall back on. This will be your hope. This will be your guiding light in the darkest of times. If you are going through the dark night of the soul, this will be incredibly helpful. Love. You need love, actually. And this way of embodying love would really help you in connecting with that aspect of you that loves itself unconditionally. That's exactly what we are doing. So this would be the second leg of the three-legged framework, and the third one would be starting to look for your soul purpose and connecting with your intuition. Of course, the second part of it would start taking care of the intuition bit, but the third part of it would be to get to know yourself more and what really matters to you, devoid of the social conditioning, devoid of what the popular media is saying about what you need to be, how you need to look, who you need to be associated with to be successful or valuable or worthy. Devoid of that, you can have all that crap. Again, just allow yourself a breather, and when you make that deal with yourself, okay, I'll take all the troubles that I'm feeling right now. 20-15 minutes later, just allow me to feel how it feels without these problems, without this heaviness, and then without all these assumptions and ideas about what I need to be, and then allow what would be most fun for you to experience in this life, what would really ring your bells actually, and what would really make your life worthwhile if you're on the deathbed. I really use this a lot, this tool, whenever I'm doing something or whenever I have to decide between doing something that will be a commitment of my time, energy, and just my attention, which is the most valuable commodity that we all have. Then I just ask myself, would the person lying on the deathbed who knows for a fact that death is going to come now would be happy about this decision, this choice? And this could be a compass. If it doesn't matter to him, if me on that deathbed would think that this is like completely a waste of my time or doesn't align with the life that I wanted to live, then it would not be fun. I would not do it, really. And I have really come to that point where I've really started to value how I feel about things and listening to my gut and listening to my intuition and asking for guidance from my higher self. And that's why the name of the podcast is Nirvana with Nirvano, because Nirvana is my higher self, and I want that energy to come through and talk to you, not my ego-driven insecurity or fear-based parts to come here and sort of mold the conversation. I want Nirvana to come here and speak through me, my higher self, for love and light and for the good of all of us, because we're all in this together, and we are going to come out of the challenging times together more stronger and powerful and more loving and more loved. So yeah, coming back to the third leg, soul purpose. Before connecting to your soul purpose, sometimes it's very obvious for some people, like child prodigies. They are very clear on what they need to be or do, or it gets very clear in the stages of life. Maybe it is clear for all of us in those beginning phases of our life, but later on it all gets so muddled up that we just stop listening to our intuition, and we just get so lost in this idea of running after things and manufacturing success and showing it to others and comparing ourselves to others and just creating a crazy atmosphere for ourselves. But then we are all coming back to who we are, and I'm really excited about all of us and all of the people who would be listening to this, and of course all of the people who are going through the spiritual awakening right now in these times. So amazing that you have chosen to be here at such turbulent times, because you knew that you could handle it and your soul would thrive with this experience. Yeah, coming back. So soul purpose bit. What I've come to realize about soul purpose, somebody who really cared about finding her soul purpose for the longest time and still figuring out what really rings my bells, I've come to realize that a life of service would be highest calling for all of us and me, and in what shape or form it should happen, that is guided by existence, and that could be a really unique individualistic thing, how it should come about and exactly how it needs to come about, actually, in the most fun and ecstatic and blissful and loving way. So a good question to ask yourself would be, which is a very fair and fairly common way of trying to find your soul purpose, it would be just asking yourself, what would you love to do on a daily basis, maybe for long term, even if you're not paid for it at all. If you could just do something or experience something for which, if you're never even thanked for, you'd be happy doing it. It's a good marker. Of course, there are many things you have to take into consideration, which can include how you're feeling about it, your intuition, what stops you, many other things, how it needs to come about. Is it relevant? It must be relevant, of course. But yeah, so just starting that journey of soul purpose, just knowing that there is a reason that you're here. It's not completely, it's not like you have just come here for no reason at all, and we live a completely meaningless life. It's not that. Well, it is that on one level, but on the other level that we are talking about, it is not at all like that. You are really valuable, and this existence would not have been full had it not have your unique and valuable experience to add to itself. That is how valuable you are. So I would love for you to feel the worthiness of you. If I could just share that one feeling with you today in this podcast, it would be of valuing yourself. It would be about sort of, beginning to come to terms, or at least to entertain the idea that you are worthy, that you are valuable, and in due time you'll start really valuing yourself. I know for a fact. So yes, this is what needed to come through in this first episode, and I'm really happy and excited to share this with all of you. And of course, I'll be making more episodes, but the idea is just to fill all these episodes with such amazing, loving energy that you feel excited and loved and nourished after listening to these. And yeah, if you could love yourself more, that would be great. I would be really happy. So yes, much love to you, and yeah, see you around, and listen to my podcast, of course, for further messages and lessons on the journey. Love, much love. I'm so happy to connect with you. Bye bye. Take care.